As everyone knows, legalized bribery is a real problem in the United States that corrupts the democratic system. But what happens when money corrupts the scientific field? Well, that's been a very serious problem when it comes to climate change and the number of scientists who refuse to put out academic evidence proving that climate change exists and that it's man-made. Now, Greenpeace recently did this expose that was awesome. It was basically an experiment where they posed as individuals or executives from these massive energy companies from abroad. And they went to these academics here in the United States and basically tried to pay them to publish false information about how climate change doesn't really exist. And unsurprisingly, it worked. So we have two examples of that for you. According to The Guardian, which covered this story, two prominent climate skeptics were available for hire by the hour to write reports casting doubt on the dangers posed by global warming. Now understand that at this point, 97% of scientists agree that climate change exists and it is man-made. The rest seems like they've been bought off, okay? Over the course of their investigation, Greenpeace posed as the representative of a Middle Eastern oil and gas company and an Indonesian coal company. In the guise of a Beirut-based business consultant, they asked William Happer, the Cyrus Fogg Brackett Professor of Physics at Princeton University, to write a report touting the benefits of rising carbon emissions, according to email exchanges between the professor and the fake company. The physicist was receptive to the commission and asked to donate his fee to the CO2 Coalition, a group founded this year to shift the debate from the unjustified criticism of CO2 and fossil fuels.
See, this is a real sting operation. So, and this is what they do. They do projection, right?
Yep.
So what is the number one charge that Fox News says about scientists who all agree that global warming or climate change is happening? Oh, they're bought off. They're doing it for the money. Really? Somebody bought off 97% of all the scientists? Thousands, hundreds of thousands of scientists across the world, they've all been bought off, and for what purpose?
Yeah.
Whereas the other side has a direct benefit from buying the 3%. They get to call it 50-50, and they get to spew fossil fuels from which they make billions of dollars. The Fox News claim is, the government is funding them, and hence that's why they want to make the government happy. But they said it during the Republican government years too, and the Republican government didn't want them to say it.
That's exactly right. You know what's also amazing about this is Greenpeace does this sting operation. It's a successful sting operation. It's not fraudulent or deceptive in any way, shape, or form. And it's not on the front page of every publication. The Center for Medical Progress does this sting operation that yields the results they don't want, so they edit their videos to make it seem like Planned Parenthood's doing something illegal, which they were not doing. Everyone's covering it, and everyone's covering it as if it was fact and it was not deceptive, okay, as if it wasn't lies. Now think about that. Two different issues. Abortion, that supposedly kills lives, which it doesn't, and then you have the issue of climate change, which actually literally kills lives. And Republicans don't give a shit about that. The media doesn't want to cover it. No one's covering this Greenpeace article. It's from freaking The Guardian, right? Publication in the UK. You know why? Because the journalism in the United States is bullshit. It sucks. And they don't care about the real issues. They're all bought off by the same corporations that are buying off these scientists.
So in reality, if you have like hit pieces from the right wing, you'll get all the coverage you want. And then they'll say, well, some say that it's doctored video and some say it's not doctored video. I'm just calling it even, but I'm showing it to you 24/7, right? But I've got a legitimate thing here that shows you that the scientists are saying, yeah, give me the money or funnel it to my, to our, little foundation we got there. And when you got a deal, I'll write whatever you need me to write. Yeah, that's not interesting. So even if I call it 50-50, I'm not going to call it anything because I'm not going to air it.
So the two scientists in this case went out of their way to hide where the funds were going to come from, right? Mm-hmm. And they made very clear that what they were doing wasn't illegal. And that's actually true. You can absolutely hide where the funding comes from. So I guess that's the big difference, right? This type of bribery is applauded in the United States. And again, it corrupts every single facet of our society, including our political system and even academics. So let me give you the second example. This is graphic number 8. The campaign group, Greenpeace, assumed another false identity, posing as an Indonesian energy consultancy to approach Frank Clemente, a retired sociologist formerly at Pennsylvania State University, to commission a report countering damaging studies on Indonesian coal deaths and promoting the benefits of coal. Okay, so people are dying from this, but they want him to write papers saying that it's not really the situation.
He said no based on principle, right?
They offered him a tiny amount of money. I think it was around $15,000. He was like, absolutely. Greenpeace said it had approached a total of 7 prominent figures in the US and UK climate denial movement. The other 5 declined, either citing time pressures, an area of expertise, or just did not respond. So there were some that didn't respond. Who knows what their intentions were? But the fact that there are 2 respected professors that are willing to put out false information about climate change is disgusting.
So do you think that he studied the Indonesian coal deaths before they asked him? Or he was like, oh, you need me to justify Indonesian coal deaths. $15,000 and you got a deal. You see, this is how it works. And so it's not the reporter by reporter. It's Anderson Cooper probably has very little choice in what he puts on his show. He's not the producer of the show.
No, but he's keeping them honest.
He's keeping them honest in one segment.
In one segment.
Okay. But executives on a macro sense in TV, they're like, oh, you want to report on dark money going towards corporate influence over facts. Who also gets dark money and gives out influence and then profits a lot from it? Oh, right, us. All that dark money in politics goes straight into our pockets in the form of television ads. Your left-wing diatribes don't interest us, right? So the idea that there's a liberal media is hilarious. So yeah, we found a Boston Globe reporter who said he voted for a Democrat. That doesn't make the media liberal, man. The guys who own the media are incredibly pro-establishment. They are the establishment. They're conservative in the sense of, don't change a goddamn thing. We're all getting really rich off of this.